Hey there, deep divers. Welcome to a new deep dive. You know how I love a good mystery. And today, we're diving headfirst into one with Sam Shepard's The One Inside.
Oh, yeah, a great one.
We've got excerpts to unpack a foreword by Patti Smith, who doesn't love her, and a bit about Shepard's own incredible life.
I mean, talk about a life well lived, right?
Right. And to help us piece together this puzzle of a book, we've got an expert on all things Shepard joining us. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
Happy to be here. It's going to be a good one, I can already tell.
So, The One Inside, it just throws you right in, doesn't it?
No kidding.
You're barely a page in, and you've got horses with human heads and talk of demons. It's intense. What do you make of that in terms of Shepard's style?
Well, I think, Shepard, he doesn't believe in easing you in. He
Right.
drops you straight into this unsettling, dreamlike world that really mirrors the narrator's own state of mind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like you're right there with him and all his, anxieties and everything.
Exactly. And those images you mentioned, they're not random. They tap into Shepard's fascination with the darker side of the American West, the hidden anxieties beneath, like its rugged exterior.
And the way he writes, it's like you're not just reading the narrator's thoughts. You're in his head, feeling them as he jumps between memories and vivid images. I felt like I needed to catch my breath sometimes, you know what I mean?
Totally. That's what we call stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
It's not a straightforward story at all.
Yeah.
Shepard wants you to experience the weight of the narrator's past, his jumbled mental state, without, spelling it all out for you.
Yeah, it's not one of those books you can just breeze through. You really got to be, present.
Yeah, present.
And speaking of puzzle pieces, let's talk about the women in this story.
Okay, yeah.
There's his ex-wife, the blackmail girl, and Felicity. Each one so distinct.
Each one's a piece of the puzzle, right?
What do you make of them?
I think, each woman seems to represent a different aspect of the narrator. His desires, his regrets, his struggles with getting older. The relationship with his ex-wife, for example, feels heavy with unsaid things, like a long, silent struggle that finally broke after almost 30 years.
It makes you wonder what takes a toll time, or the routines we fall into.
Absolutely, right.
And then you have the complete opposite with the blackmail girl.
Oh, yeah, she's something else.
She's young, bold, and recording their conversations, intending to publish them. It's almost scandalous, and yet...
I know. It's like, whoa, hold on a minute.
I know, right? Part of you was like, who does that? But another part was fascinated by her audacity.
Totally. And I think that's what makes it so Shepard, right?
Yeah.
It's a power dynamic he highlights throughout the book.
It's true.
The narrator is older, but he's drawn to her energy, her perspective. It makes you question who really holds the power in that relationship.
And the fact that she wants to publish their conversations,
Yeah.
that makes you think, whose story is it to tell anyway? Is anything truly private anymore?
Right. You hit the nail on the head. Shepard definitely makes you think about that.
Well, for sure.
He seems to be exploring how much control we have over our own stories and how easily they can be manipulated or misinterpreted by others.
Which makes me think about something Patti Smith wrote in the foreword. She called the book a dark compass. What did you think about that when you read that?
I mean, what a perfect description, right? It's not about a clear path, but about navigating the narrator's internal landscape.
Yes.
The journey itself is more important than the destination.
And just when you think you're getting a handle on things, Shepard throws in Felicity. This is where it gets really intriguing and a little unsettling. We get these hints about the narrator's past relationship with her, a relationship somehow connected to his father.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Right.
I think the narrator's own discomfort with those memories is what makes it even more unsettling. He's trying to piece together something that feels traumatic, but the details are blurry, like trying to grab onto smoke,
Like he's trying to outrun his past. But it's always right there with him, no matter how far he travels. Which makes me think about all the travel imagery, cars, trains, planes constantly moving.
Yeah, he's constantly on the move.
Always going somewhere.
That constant movement speaks to a restless spirit, don't you think? He's searching for something escape, maybe, or maybe even redemption. But he can't outrun himself.
No, he can't. And amidst all that movement, there were these recurring images and themes of pop-up dreams, animals, especially horses and dogs, and this constant feeling of being watched. It's like Shepard is dropping clues about what's really going on beneath the surface.
100%, like breadcrumbs leading you through this dark, twisty forest,
Okay, so we've got our work cut out for us, deep divers. But before we go any further, I think we need to take a closer look at those recurring motifs. They seem to be key to unlocking the secrets of the one inside.
I totally agree.
So let's start with the animals, shall we? They're
Okay.
everywhere in this book. Horses, dogs, even a Tasmanian devil at one point.
Oh, yeah, that Tasmanian devil. I forgot about that.
What do you think Shepard is trying to tell us with these animal encounters?
Well, there's definitely a primal element to them, a connection to something wild and untamed. It's almost as if Shepard is reminding us that beneath the surface of our civilized selves, there's a primal instinct that can't be completely ignored.
And it's not just the animals themselves, but the way he describes them. It's almost like he's giving them human qualities, blurring the lines between man and beast.
For sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about that scene with the piebald colt following the narrator through the smoke. It's beautiful and unsettling at the same time, right? It's almost as if the cult represents a part of the narrator that he's both drawn to and afraid of, that wild, untamed part of himself.
Like he's both afraid of it, but he kind of wants to be that free.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting that you mentioned the smoke, because that connects to another recurring motif, the landscape. It's almost as if the environment itself is a reflection of the narrator's internal state.
Yeah, the setting, it's like another character in the story, Shepard uses landscape to create this incredible sense of atmosphere and unease. You've got the vastness of the desert, the claustrophobia of the feedlots, the eerie stillness of the avocado grove, with those strange fans whirring in the background. Each setting evokes a different emotion, mirroring the narrator's own fragmented state of mind.
And there's often a sense of danger lurking just beneath the surface of these landscapes, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, something bad is about to happen.
100%. It's like the landscape itself is a character shaping the narrative and adding to that overall feeling of unease.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
you're never quite safe in this world,
You're never quite sure what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
Okay, deep divers, we're going to take a quick
And we'll be right back after this short break.
break. But when we come back, we'll be diving deeper into those unsettling dreams and that pervasive feeling of being watched. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back with our deep dive into Sam Shepard's The One Inside. We're on this quest to unpack all the layers and those recurring motifs we were just talking about, the animals, the landscape. They're like keys to understanding what's really going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, they really do add another layer to everything, don't they?
Right. Like you're never quite sure if what you're writing is real or imagined, past or present. It's like those unsettling dreams the narrator keeps having. They pop up out of nowhere and leave you feeling like you've just stepped into another dimension.
Oh, totally. And those dreams are classic. Shepard, vivid, symbolic, and deeply unsettling. They often tap into the narrator's deepest fears and anxieties, things he can't even confront in his waking life.
Like that one where he finds himself in a room full of naked people,
Oh, God,
all
yes.
staring at him. I mean, talk about awkward. But also speaks to that feeling of being exposed,
Yeah.
vulnerable, right? Absolutely. It's that fear of being seen for who we really are, stripped bare of all pretense. And that ties into another recurring motif we've touched on, the feeling of being watched.
It's constant. It's like the narrator can never escape that feeling of eyes on him, judging him.
Like somebody's always watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you really feel that sense of paranoia like seeping into the narrative.
Totally.
It makes you wonder, is someone actually watching him? Or is it all in his head a manifestation of his guilt and paranoia? Shepard leaves that open to interpretation, which only adds to the unease.
It's like he's saying, hey, reader, you figure it out, which I kind of love, and I'm also completely freaked out by at the same time.
Right. It's both. It's that fine line Shepard walks between intrigue and discomfort that makes his work so compelling. You're drawn in by the mystery, but you're also slightly repulsed by what you find there.
Totally. Okay, so we've got these unsettling dreams, this feeling of being watched, and then there's that whole other layer of unease with the black male girl and her obsession with the narrator's more explicit descriptions.
Yeah, I mean, where do we even go with that? That's a thread that runs deep, isn't it? It makes you question the nature of intimacy, of consent, and the power dynamics at play between men and women, especially as they age.
And the whole aspect of, like, is she manipulating him?
Yeah.
Is he manipulating her? What's the deal with that? You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Complicated.
It's murky, you know? It's really murky.
I mean, it's one thing to be flattered by someone's attention, but it's another thing entirely to have those private, intimate details exposed to the world without your consent. It's a huge violation.
Oh, for sure. And that's what Shepard is getting at, I think. He's forcing us to confront those uncomfortable truths about power, desire, and the ways in which our words can be used against us.
One thing that struck me about the blackmail girl is that she's not just a one-dimensional character. She's manipulative, sure, but she's also vulnerable in her own way.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Think about that scene where she describes her dream about the theme park called The End of the World. It's a chilling image, but it also reveals a deep-seated fear and insecurity beneath her tough exterior.
That's so true. It's like she's trying to outrun her own demons, just like the narrator. Which, now that I think about it, is true of almost every character in this book. They're all haunted by something.
They are. Whether it's the weight of the past, the fear of aging, or the uncertainty of the future, none of these characters are truly at peace. They're all searching for something, like,
Yeah.
What's it all about?
Yeah, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
It's like they're all lost in their own personal labyrinths, trying to find their way out.
Yes, and like any good labyrinth, there are twists and turns, dead ends, and unexpected encounters along the way. And just when you think you're getting close to the center, you hit another wall.
So are we saying that there is no center to this labyrinth?
Well, I mean, that's the question, right?
Okay, so we've got dreams, animals, landscapes, this constant feeling of being watched, and characters who are all a little bit messed up. What does it all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But I think that's what Shepard wants us to ask. He's not interested in providing easy answers.
Right.
He wants us to sit with the discomfort, the ambiguity, and find our own meaning in the chaos.
Which is a little frustrating, but also kind of exhilarating, right?
Oh, 100%.
It's like he's giving us permission to think for ourselves, to draw our own conclusions.
Exactly. He's inviting us to be active participants in the storytelling process, to piece together the fragments and create our own understanding of the world he's created.
I like that. So it's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel in a way.
Kind of, yeah. But he's definitely not afraid to go to some dark places to get his point across.
No, he's not.
But that's what makes his work so powerful and thought-provoking. He doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of human nature. He forces us to confront them head on, like, this is what it is, deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want to truly understand the one inside, we can't just focus on the plot points. We have to pay attention to the subtext, the recurring motifs, the way Shepard uses language and imagery to create this feeling of unease and disorientation.
We have to be willing to get a little uncomfortable, to embrace the ambiguity, and to ask ourselves those difficult questions about identity, memory, and the human condition.
So deep divers, are you ready to dive a little deeper? Because we're about to explore the significance of the book's title, The One Inside. Who or what do you think Shepard is referring to? Stay with us. Okay, we're back, and things are about to get philosophical deep divers. We're tackling the big question.
Yeah, the big one.
The title itself, The One Inside. What do you make of it? Who or what is Shepard pointing to?
Yeah, it's the question that lingers long after you finish the book. It's such a simple phrase, but so loaded with possibilities. Is it the narrator grappling with his fragmented self? Or is it something deeper, like a primal instinct we all share?
I mean, is there even an answer?
Yeah.
Part of me thinks it's that feeling you get reading this book, like there's always something simmering beneath the surface, both in the story and within ourselves.
Oh, 100%. Like, you're reading it, but you also feel like you're being read. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like Shepard's right there with you, peering into your soul.
It's a little creepy, but also kind of awesome
Yeah, right.
and a little unsettling. Like, is he reading me? Or am I reading him? Who's the one inside now?
Right. I think you're onto something there. Shepard's not just interested in telling one man's story. He's exploring the darker, hidden aspects of human nature that we often try to ignore.
And he doesn't make it easy for us. It's like he's giving us these fragmented glimpses, dreams, memories, unsettling encounters, and then asking us to assemble the puzzle ourselves.
Yeah, he's not going to spoon feed you the answers. He wants you to work for it, to really wrestle with these ideas.
Which I appreciate. It's more rewarding that way, right? Makes you think.
Exactly. Which, let's be honest, is a lot more interesting than being handed a neat, prepackaged message, right?
Totally.
Like, here's the meaning of life, boom.
Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather uncover it for myself.
Exactly. It forces us to confront those uncomfortable truths about ourselves, the ones inside, that we might not want to acknowledge.
It's like that scene where the narrator talks about the shrinkage. It's bizarre, funny, but also kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
This fear of losing ourselves, of becoming something we don't recognize.
Yeah, like, who am I becoming?
Yeah, and not in a good way.
Right. And the worst part is you don't even realize it's happening until it's too late.
Exactly. It speaks to that universal fear of aging, of losing our vitality, our sense of self. And it connects to that motif of being watched, judged like someone else can see those changes in us before we do.
Like they see us shrinking before we even feel it ourselves.
Right. Which is super creepy when you think about it.
Totally.
It's like we're all haunted by the possibility of becoming someone we don't recognize, of losing touch with the one inside that defines us.
And maybe that's the point Shepard is trying to make. Maybe there's no single answer, no definitive one inside. Maybe it's something that's constantly evolving, shifting as we move through life, shaped by our experiences and the choices we make.
So it's not about finding the one inside. It's about understanding that it's always changing.
Exactly. It's a process, not a destination.
So if we want to understand the one inside, we have to be willing to look inward, to confront our own complexities and contradictions.
Precisely. We have to embrace the messiness of being human, the darkness and the light, the beauty and the ugliness, because it's all part of who we are, all part of the one inside.
Wow. That's quite a journey we've been on with the one inside. Unsettling dreams, fragmented memories, and those unsettling encounters with the black male girl. We've explored the darker side of the American West, the haunting power of landscape, and the primal instincts that lurk beneath the surface.
And we've barely scratched the surface, right?
I know, right? There's so much more to unpack.
So much more.
But we're out of time for today.
It flew by.
I know, right?
We could talk about this for hours.
I know, seriously. But we've got to save something for next time.
Right. Got to keep him wanting more.
But before we go, any final thoughts for our deep divers out there?
Yeah, if you haven't already, definitely pick up The One Inside. It's a wild ride, but it's so worth it.
And don't be afraid to get a little uncomfortable.
Embrace the weirdness.
Yeah, let Shepard mess with your head a little bit.
You won't regret it.
And who knows? You might just learn something about yourself along the way.
You might just meet the one inside.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the heart of what matters.